Hello, I'm Joel Hargis with the Florida Aviation Network. We're here on Plane Time today in beautiful, sunny Orlando, Florida. And in Plane Time, we really like to talk about safety. And today we're going to focus more so on airplane maintenance. And of course, no plane gets off the ground without proper maintenance. And we have a great guest, super knowledgeable in airplane maintenance today, John Detrick. Welcome, John.
Thank you, Joel.
And so this is page 2, if you will. We our second show here today, and you know you did a great job talking about your school a little bit, and you know certainly your background and extensive, impressive, and now we kind of want to talk about the job a little more, okay, and the opportunities out there, and why. Not just young people, but anybody should consider, being an aircraft maintenance technician. And so we're going to kind of pick it up where we left off, and that is you are one of the teachers and directors of an A&P school.
Actually, I am the director, which means that I am the chief janitor. No, actually, I'm in charge of everything. So I manage the schedules, I manage the instructors, I write the curriculum, take care of all the attendant record keeping that the FAA demands, just take care of everything for that. And I also substitute when required. So,
and just to back up, if somebody didn't see the first show, define A&P school.
Okay, we are a school that is regulated by the FAA under FAR Part 147, which is the part that regulates mechanics, or I should say the schools for mechanics. So we're authorized to teach a course of instruction leading to somebody being an aircraft maintenance technician, to obtaining their airframe and power plant certificates.
So airframe and power plant. And really, upon completing that program, you could work on general aviation aircraft, but you could also go to work for a company working on 747s, right?
Exactly. I
mean, it's a huge spectrum, as well as rotor aircraft, right?
That's correct.
Helicopters, for those who don't know that term. So, wow, what a vast choice of things to do with that. And I'm going to ask you the obvious question first, I think, is why, in your mind, why do you think that's a good career path?
Because there will always be work.
That's a good answer.
Salaries are going up.
Good answer.
Yeah, salaries are going up. And at least in my mind, there's an incredible amount of job satisfaction when you fix something like this.
Right.
Something as complex as, well, we've all seen the newer general aviation aircraft. Pretty complex, right? A whole lot different than they were in the 1960s, right?
No doubt about that.
So that takes a skilled technician to troubleshoot and fix this. I mean, car mechanics, they're pretty much plug and play. You bring the car into the dealer, they put their diagnostic equipment, and whatever the computer tells them is the most probable part to replace, that's what they do.
That's where they start.
That doesn't work in aviation.
No.
So it takes a highly skilled individual that's been trained to troubleshoot and repair and to do it safely and efficiently.
So, plenty of jobs.
Plenty of jobs.
I mean, is it one of those jobs that you can point your finger on the map and say, I'd like to move here and work?
Actually, you can point your finger anywhere in the globe. This is a global shortage of skilled aircraft maintenance technicians. Literally anywhere, everywhere. But if you want to stay in the U.S., plenty of positions. Every major carrier, Delta, United, JetBlue, all the others, every one of them have an incredible shortage of skilled maintenance technicians.
So, all right. So, satisfaction, you're fixing something. I'm going to try to line them up here.
Yep.
And secondly, you can do this anywhere in the world. That's a really good thing. Let's talk about pay a little bit. What kind of income can one expect particularly, starting out, we all don't earn as much as what we do years later.
Yeah.
But what kind of pay do they get starting out?
Well, typically, realize there's no hard and fast rule for this.
Right.
Okay. General aviation, again, no hard and fast rule for general aviation. It's going to be whatever the local operators can afford to pay. For the most part, what I've seen is starting out at somewhere in the neighborhood of $20 per hour.
Right.
But for that kind of job, it's mostly 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, no working on weekends, smaller airports. So if you're that kind of individual that likes that, maybe that's good. Now the airlines, on the other hand, their starting pay, from what I've seen for the most part, is somewhere in the 30s as a starting salary. So, and it just goes up from there. And because most airlines are union, all of this is, of course, negotiated with a collective bargaining agreement between the airline and the union, and they really hold on to those pay scales pretty tightly, so it's kind of tough to find them. But in the neighborhood, that's what it is.
Starting.
So
I know, obviously, I'm pilot aircraft owner, and the shop rate in most places is $90 to $100 an hour. Now all the overhead and everything comes out of that. And you don't start owning a shop.
Yeah.
But just on the GA side, the general aviation side, I know that's the going rate. So you can certainly make some money there. But again, you can work for an airline, a Delta, a JetBlue, and though I bet, though 30 to start, I would think once you get to know what you're doing,
some of the airlines top out at $60 plus an hour. When I say top out, that means that's the top of their pay scale for the mechanics side, for the AMT side. And how long it takes to reach that is once again dependent upon the bargaining agreement between the airline and the union. But that's still not bad. $40, $50 an hour. Plus, what most people don't realize is that the airlines, when they give you, we'll say, for example, $30 an hour, all right, as a starting pay. What most people don't realize is they also pay extra for each certificate. Now remember, the A&P certificate is 2, airframe, power plant. And for our example, we'll say it's $1 a certificate, just because it's easy math, right?
Okay.
So that would be $1 for the airframe, $1 for the power plant. So now you're up to what? $32 an hour.
Right.
Holy cow, that's a raise.
Yeah.
And let's say you're a techie individual and you've got some sort of avionics certification, such as the FCC license or the NCAT. So now, let's say for argument's sake, that's another $1 an hour. Oh my God, you're at $33 an hour already.
That's 10%.
Yeah. Let's say you're working second shift, they might throw another 75 cents an hour. Now we're up to $33.75. Oh my God.
Well, and
see, all this gets added on.
And one of the things that we talked about in the previous one is from start to finish to get your A&P at your school, which we're going to talk more about. 16 to 18 months. What can you do in 16 to 18 months that spits you out at $30 plus an hour?
Exactly.
And work anywhere in the world. If it sounds like I'm trying to promote this, I am, because we need them. Folks, again, every day on the news, the planes are late and canceled and this and that. And some of that, quite frankly, is maintenance. And so this is, and again, you don't have to be, I'm 18 coming out of high school.
Nope.
I think I'll spend a year and a half and do this. You could be 45 or 50 years old and go to school for a year and a half and change whatever you're doing and still make good money to live your life. And maybe it is travel. I'm just really trying to emphasize the vast amount of opportunity in doing this, right?
Yeah. Now, I've had students fresh out of high school, 18.
Right.
By the way, the FAA does say that in order to be an aircraft maintenance technician, you must be 18. So, and I've had them as as old as in their mid to late 50s or early 60s.
Really?
So the whole gamut. The average, though, for most students, for the adult students that I see, is in the mid 30s.
Really?
So they've done something for a little bit,
No kidding.
kicked around, and now it's like, well, I like
Do
this.
some automotive folks cross over?
Yeah, they do. Some do.
I mean, that seems logical.
Yeah, they do. And in the previous place that I taught at, I had a few students that were ASE certified, and they said that, quite frankly, they learned more how things worked, especially engines, than they did in ASE school, because as an A&P school in power plants, you have to crack open these engines and overhaul and inspect them. Something that I don't know if they do that in the automotive mechanic schools anymore. I don't know. But you get very well versed on how a reciprocating engine works.
So, so the school that you are the director of, give us the title of that, and if we've got that on the board over here, put that
It's
up.
International AeroTech Academy, and we are located right across the street from the Lakeland Airport.
All right.
Literally across the street.
Well, that seems like a good place to be. And let me ask, so why the International
AeroTech Academy.
AeroTech Academy? Why your school? This is your chance to plug yourself. You know, this is, tell us why would I want to go there in lieu of Embry-Riddle or another school closer, obviously that's a university, or another technical school?
Okay, good question, and there's quite a few reasons. First off, we're cheaper than Embry-Riddle.
Oh, I bet.
Okay. Secondly, we keep class sizes small.
Okay,
So
and
that-
when you say small,
We are authorized for, and I have written in our manual, no more than 25 students per instructor.
okay.
Okay. Now, this is actually sort of a federal aviation regulation in which they regulate the number of students in the shop to 25 per hour. So some institutions have said, well, that's just the shop environment. We can put 60 students per teacher in the academic environment, which in my mind does not mean that you get an adequate form of instruction.
Yeah, that's
So
that's a big class.
I decided to keep the class sizes small for individualized instruction. Now, that means that for our students, it means if we see that they need extra attention, they're going to get it.
Nice.
So we do not treat the students like a number. We're a private company. We're going to make money, but we're not going to make money that way. Other institutions, if you miss school, you have to make the time up, and they charge you for that.
Oh.
Now our program, we decided early on, we're not going to do that.
Really?
We aligned our schedules. Our schedules are Monday through Thursday, 7:30 to 3. Friday afternoons, it only goes to 11, so that we have the afternoon if a student requires makeup time to come and do it. We're not going to charge them.
And the instructors will stay and.
Well, the instructors are there anyways.
Oh.
Because that's Friday afternoon is their time to prepare for the next week, take care
Okay.
of things. So yeah. So they're there anyways. So we
So
get to know
personal attention is-
personal attention. We get to know the students. For us, the focus is on customer support, customer satisfaction. They are our customer, and then by ensuring that they get an adequate education, the next customer in line is the airlines or general aviation. So by ensuring that they get a quality education, we ensure that the end line customer, the airline or the FBO, has a well-qualified, well-trained individual.
Well, and if you're turning out a quality student, it makes them want to come back over and over and over and get your students.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that just makes sense.
Yeah, but because our focus is customer service and student orientated, and really, not so much making money. I mean, we're going to make money, but just not that way.
So let me ask you, how would you say that your school rates with tools and the things you need to repair? I mean, because there's so much that you guys have to teach, from sheet metal to, you know, I mean, it's just vast. So
It is.
How would you say your school is equipped to teach all that stuff?
Well, I would say that we're fairly well equipped. Now, the FAA ensures that we are equipped adequately.
Right.
Minimum, but we tend to go above and beyond whenever possible. So I'm constantly sourcing tools, equipment, things like this. One of our, how I say this, industry partners donated a couple of aircraft. We've got a
Nice.
Piper Saratoga 32R to be precise. We thank them for that. We got the whole airplane kit and caboodle. We also received a Piper Malibu / Matrix.
Really? Well, that's a turbine.
Well, it started out as a Malibu, and now it's a Matrix. So it's a
Okay.
yeah.
So
it
that-
has a pressurization system. It also has what they call a Fadec engine, full authority digital engine control. So we have all that as well.
And that's a turbine, is it not?
No, it's not.
Piston?
Piston, yeah.
I thought that they went turbine at that point. How many horse is that?
Oh, I don't know. I don't keep up with that.
That sounds like something I'd like to fly because that sounds fast.
Yeah.
I'd like to fly
Yeah.
fast planes.
But we also have old technology stuff. I mean, I've got a beautiful cutaway radial with a big crank on it. That's just, I mean, everybody that knows anything about aircraft, when they come there, they have to give it a crank just to see everything move, the piston and the cam follower and everything. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a thing of grace and beauty.
I mean, are you required to teach radial round engines?
Yes, we are. We still are.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Wow.
If it's flying, we're required to teach it.
No kidding.
Yeah.
And then how about, cloth wrapped? And are you teaching all of that too?
All that too, yeah.
Shrink wrapping the skin and the whole,
Yep. Yep.
wow.
Dope and fabric, basic electricity, electronics, structures, sheet metal, corrosion control, flight control balancing, aircraft rigging, control cable replacement.
Prop balance. And
Prop balance, everything to do with tires, wheels, and brakes, replacing the tubes, replacing the tires, strut repair, overhaul.
right.
Ton of stuff you have to learn to be an aircraft maintenance technician.
Well, it's so vast. I mean, that's
Yeah.
the thing. And then, how much rotor stuff do you do? How much do you teach about working on helicopters? What do they say? That's 100,000 parts.
Yeah.
Trying to move in unison.
Yeah. Well, actually, that's part of the new changes that are coming out September 21st. Now, in the past, anything to do with rotors was kind of buried in some of the other curriculum, such as flight controls and rigging and things like this. Now, rotorcraft fundamentals are actually its separate, standalone curriculum that must be taught. So we are going to jump into that.
So it's a new chapter, if you will.
A new chapter,
section,
a new section, yeah.
Okay.
Whereas before it was kind of melded within the curriculum. Now it's its own separate section with its own separate skills that have to be demonstrated.
Well, that makes sense.
So luckily, we acquired an old rotor head and tail rotor from a Sikorsky H-34. For those of you that don't know, is a very old 1950s vintage military helicopter. And I love this thing because it is absolutely huge. I mean, the rotor head is like this big, so I can put all kinds of students around it, and they can actually see the swash plate, which is the thing that makes the controls move, and they can actually see the pitch links. I mean, because it's massive. It's old technology. It's pretty cool stuff.
Wow, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
And so on the other end of the spectrum, let's talk about jet engines. There's got to be some jet engine training.
Yeah, there is quite a bit of jet engine training. Power plants is roughly half recip engines, half jet engines. And we have got a bunch of jet engines that we have for component removal and replacement, tearing them apart, turbine blade inspections, and all kinds of things like that. We even have an operable jet engine at our engine run facility, which is at our flight training school. And we also actually have two Garrett TPE 331s that we stole out of a junked Aero Commander.
Really?
So, yeah.
So I don't know anything about jet engines. I mean, like nothing. So which is easier? Would you rather work on, let me ask it like this. Which would you rather work on, a jet engine or a reciprocating engine, and why?
Jet engines because they're simpler. You want turbine engine theory in about 10 seconds?
Go for it.
Suck,
You can have a minute. I don't care.
suck, squeeze, bang, blow.
Suck, squeeze, bang, blow. That's a jet engine.
Sucks the air, the
Right.
air in, squeezes it, compresses it, ignites it, blows out the back. There you go. That's half a power plant's in 10 seconds free. Won't charge you.
Suck, squeeze, bang, blow. You learn that, folks. You can be a jet mechanic. That's all you got to do. That's funny. So again, I don't want to diverse too much about the absolute critical demand for this and the need and how do we get more people interested? And I'd like to say younger people because that's the future, I think. But how do we get more people interested, John?
Well, once again, it's a multifaceted problem. First off, there has to be an awareness made of the public that, being an aircraft maintenance technician, there's no social stigma attached to it. I mean, I guess for the last 20 or 30 years, parents have been kind of led to believe that their children need a college education to succeed in life. And the sad truth is that most of them don't. And they're fed to this university program, which basically is a machine for making diplomas, getting your student loan money, and that's a whole other thing. I really like Mike Rowe with Mike Rowe Works with his getting people back into work into the vocational programs.
Right.
Now it's not just
skilled trades.
Skilled trades. Yeah, I keep saying this. It's not just aircraft maintenance technicians. It's every skilled trade out there. Now the industry forecasts right now are saying that we need roughly 14,000 AMTs a year to replace the people that are retiring. The schools right now, guess how many the schools are pumping out?
Oh, probably half that.
6,000.
Less than half.
So we're already behind the power curve, to use an aviation expression, right? So we're already behind the power curve.
So, that's scary.
It is very scary.
It's scary because what happens if we run out? And I guess capitalism will fix some of it, right? I mean, when it gets so low that stuff stops moving, they'll pay them enough that they'll do it.
Now, we all know about the pilot shortage. Pilots get all the thunder and glory, right? It's glamorous, white shirt, tie, cap.
Right.
The maintenance side doesn't get it as much as it should, but that's actually more critical than pilots. Right now, there are roughly, and this is from the FAA database, roughly 313,000 licensed A&P mechanics in the U.S. Right?
Say it again.
313,000.
That's it.
That's it. Well, it gets better. Guess how many are actually employed?
330. There's licensed 330. 150.
Close, 130,000. So that means all those people, it's mostly older guys that still have a certificate because once you get the certificates, they're good for life. Right? So.
And is there? That's a good question. Is there recurrent training for an AMT?
Not so much
not like a pilot.
Not like a pilot where you have to have recurrent currency. Now there is a little blurb in the FARs that you say you must be active as an airframe and power plant mechanic for 6 months, but really to get recurrent, it's just you work in the shop for 6 months and then you're good to go. But nothing formal. For general aviation, there's nothing formal for recurrent training.
Right.
On the airline side, only with the airline's maintenance program. So like if you work for United,
they have their own.
They have their own stuff, and it's different than Delta's, and that it's recurrent training for stuff like engine run and taxi. And that's whatever their manuals say they're approved for.
And the other thing I want to point out, and it was from Plane Time a couple months ago, I interviewed Laura Spoler, who she is a chief of maintenance for United, I believe it is, at Orlando, and has done that, been in the industry 20, 30 years. It's not just for guys.
Oh, no.
Ladies can do this job.
Yes, they do.
Quite capably.
And I wish we had more women in the workforce. In my experience as students, they tend to be more attentive and focused than a lot of the male students.
The ladies?
But they only comprise about 3% of the workforce.
Yeah, that's what she said. And
yeah.
I mean, gosh, it's such an opportunity. And why? I mean, you know.
Once again, it's a social stigma that's attached to being a mechanic. You know, and we as a culture, we have to change this.
How do we make it sexy?
Clean white shirt, epaulets, I don't know.
I don't know. We'll have to, I bet if we could figure that out, we'd make a lot of money, couldn't we?
Yeah.
Because that's going to make a lot of people happy. So here we are in great demand, pays well, and there are some benefits too. If you're working for an airline, you get employee benefits. Not that they're as great as they used to be, but I mean free flights and things like that if you choose to do that and can find a seat. But I mean airlines have good benefits.
Yes, they do. They pay well, good medical, dental, retirement plans. One of my instructors actually just retired from United after, I want to say 30 years. So he's doing pretty well with his retirement pension. Yeah. But yeah,
I mean, those are real jobs.
They are.
With big companies.
Yeah.
That really aren't going anywhere. I mean.
Yeah, they're not.
And with the obvious upcoming shortage, those pay scales are only going to go up. They have to.
Yeah, they have to, and they are. We're starting to see some of the smaller airlines, the regional carriers, a lot of them are renegotiating their contracts with their maintenance unions, and we're starting to see hourly pay rates sneak up with them as well. So,
well, it's just capitalism. I mean, there's nowhere it can go but up. And so, what do you like best about helping kids learn this?
I love to impart this knowledge. I'd love to see that light bulb go on over their head when you're explaining something and you see that aha moment, and you can see it in their eyes, and it's like they got it, they know it. So for me, it's a great deal of personal satisfaction and gratification to know that I have helped someone go from one place to another in their life. A lot of the students that we see come from impoverished backgrounds. So this helps raise them out of that into something that's more productive, more rewarding, more financially stable. It's all in the mix, but it's all good.
Yeah, I have always volunteered for helping younger people, and it's so fulfilling. I mean, your school's relatively new, so you're just starting to place people probably.
We have placed people already before graduation.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean that's how shorthanded everybody is in the industry. They are literally going to these schools and hiring people before they even graduate.
Wow. Well, I think you're doing great work, John, and we're just happy here to be able to help promote this for the benefit of the whole aviation industry, right? I mean, we really want to do that. This show comes with wings credits. So if you need, actually, probably not only for the pilot side, but
for the maintenance side.
For the maintenance side as well. And so for all of you watching that are interested in wings credits, in the credits will be a code. And if you write that code and send it in for wings credits based on this show through the Florida Aviation Network, you can get credit for just watching this. And let's just encourage everybody to tell their friends, talk to their kids, and let's get the word out there. It's such a good opportunity. Make good money, live anywhere in the world that you want, and be in aviation. It's just a great thing.
Yep.
Thanks for coming and talking to me, man.
Hey, anytime. I love being here at Plane Time. I could talk for hours about this, so anytime.
Who knows? Maybe we'll do a remote out there sometime. I am Joel Hargis with the Florida Aviation Network. Here at Plane Time, your co-host today. Stay tuned for more great Plane Time shows.